Hey guys, J-Dubs is back, and I'm doing a new series. It's dedicated to doing stuff and explaining basically some things about Zelda. So I'm going to start off this episode here with the timeline, and it might span more than one episode, I don't know. But basically, what this is this is the book they released for the 25th anniversary, the Hyrule Historia. And what the Nintendo decided to do was put a timeline in it. So order all the games, not from release date, but from when the first one started, which is right here, Skyward Sword, to when the last ones, which would be that one, and that one, for each split, which we'll get into whenever we get into that. But anyway, basically, I'm just going to be explaining how this all works. Okay, so how the timeline works, because some people are confused. But let's start at the beginning. So obviously first we have creation, which is where the creation of the land and sky. So this is where the goddess creates the land and the sky and all that. And then the era, and then Skyward Sword. And this is also when the people of the land, the humans, retreat up into the sky, and then the Skyward Sword happens. So this is years after the Great War. People are still living in the sky, and they got birds and all that good stuff. And so basically it's the reincarnation of Hylia and a return to the surface. And then we have the Sky Era, which is when this takes place. And of course then we have Era of Chaos, where the Sacred Realm is sealed, and the established Kingdom of Hyrule, which is the Era of Prosperity, which is where a lot of people believe the new Zelda for Wii U, that's probably coming out next year, hopefully, is going to fall in the Era of Prosperity, but nobody really knows. And then we got the Minish Cap, so it's the rise of the evil Vati. I've never played Minish Cap myself, but after reading through the book, it explains it basically. And what happens is there's this guy named Vati, he's evil, and he's basically trying to resurrect Demise. So yeah, and he's actually turns into this wind mage at the end, and actually in the Force Era also appears in Force Wars, was the resurrection of Vati. And this is the anniversary edition, I believe. So it's the one with the anniversary, so it's the one with the 4 players. I have it on my DS. And then we have the Era of the Hero of Time, Child and Adult Era. So we have the Hyrulean Civil War, which is basically everyone fighting over the Sacred Realm, and then a masterpiece of gaming, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. This game is hailed as one of the greatest games of all time. And I agree. It's not my favorite of the bunch, but it's pretty darn good. So obviously, if you've ever played this game, oh, by the way, spoilers. Sorry, down so late. This game is kind of confusing, and we'll get into that later. But as most people know, there's an adult era, which is right there. There's a child era, which is right there, and then you're basically trying to save Hyrule. So, and Ganondorf becomes the Demon King, and the Sacred Realm becomes the Dark World. The popular theory is that Demise from Skyward Sword becomes Ganondorf, inhabits him, and he inhabits that. Now, so that's basically the front part of the timeline, and this is where it gets confusing. See this whole bottom half? Yeah. We're gonna start by going here. The hero is triumphant. This is what most people assumed, that there would be another timeline where the hero is triumphant, and maybe there would be 2 separate ones with an adult and child. So we're going to start with the child one, okay? So basically what the child era is so the Sacred Realm gets protected in both timelines. So it goes from being the Dark World back into the Sacred Realm. And of course Majora's Mask happens as a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. It obviously doesn't have an era because nobody, even Nintendo, was very vague about what exactly happens and how they get to the Land of Termina. So then the Demon Thief Ganondorf is executed, which we see in Twilight Princess, where the Shadow Invasion happens. Obviously it's the Twilight era. So the Demon Thief Ganondorf, the guy from up there, is killed, destroyed. we think, but he survives. Spoilers, Twilight Princess. Play the game. And then Four Swords Adventures. This is the Shadow area, and it's the resurrection of Ganondorf, and yes, the guy from these two games, Vati. So Vati is still a mage, I think. I don't know. Wind mage. And yeah, that's a game that I haven't played. I believe it's for the GameCube. And then we go to my favorite era of all time. That's one of my favorite games. So in the adult era, Ganondorf is sealed. I'm not sure if he was in this one. I don't know. But Ganondorf is resurrected and Hyrule is sealed and flooded. So this is the era without a hero. In this one, the hero came back. Had a baby. That one probably had a baby. This one, he never came back. This guy from Wind Waker is only spiritually connected to the guy from Ocarina of Time. Unlike these guys who are all blood related. I'm not sure about them. But these two guys, they're blood related. This guy's the same guy, and this guy's a child. But this guy is only spiritually related. So Ganondorf is resurrected once again. And this is my favorite game of all time, Wind Waker HD. It's amazing. Play it. Era of the Great Sea. And then Phantom Hourglass. Once again, very vague on the details. Is it a dream? We don't know what it is. So, yeah, Phantom Hourglass, very vague, just like Majora's Mask. Era of the Great Voyage. So a new continent is discovered, and the new Kingdom of Hyrule is founded. A lot of people get confused. This, the new Kingdom of Hyrule, is different from this, and this, and probably this, okay? It's completely different. It's called the new Kingdom of Hyrule. Hyrule, the original Kingdom of Hyrule, is flooded forever. Can never be found again. Ever. I mean, I guess if someone just swim deep enough. And then it's the era of Hyrule's Rebirth. So the new Kingdom of Hyrule, reborn, Zelda's back, Link's back, and then Spirit Tracks. The Demon King Malladus is resurrected. I've never played either of these games, Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks. I hear this game was crap, and this game did what it was trying to do, and got it right. But I don't know, I've never played. So anyway, those are the two where the hero is triumphant. Now here's the thing that nobody expected. The hero is defeated, and trust me, I've made this timeline many times. It's where at the end of the final battle against Ganon, he dies. And then there's the imprisoning war, where they fight to imprison Ganon. And then A Link to the Past happens. Also, may I note, this is the timeline that has the most games so far. So anyway, so this is the imprisoning of Hyrule, and then A Link to the Past is Resurrection of Ganon, and the Era of Light and Dark. Oracle of Seasons also, and Ages also happens here. It's also the Resurrection of Ganon, the end. Spoilers again. And then there's the Golden Era. Link's Awakening, once again, very vague on the details. But then we have Monarchs of Hyrule use the Triforce. So basically, they use the Triforce to make it a better place. And this, my friends, is where A Link Between Worlds happens. So the Monarchs of the Hyrule use Triforce is the very end. And you want to know what that wish is? Play A Link Between Worlds. You'll find it. So that's where that goes. And then the Tragedy of Zelda 1. Tragedy of Zelda 1. It happens here, isn't addressed until here. We'll get to that later. So then there's the Era of Decline. Also, these games, I've played Ages there. I've never played that, and I've never played that. But their storylines I hear are pretty cool. This one, once again, very vague. We assume it's a spoiler's dream because of the big ending. He wakes up. It's a dream. So, yeah. And then The Legend of Zelda happens. This is the game that started it all, everybody. This is the game that is supposed to be a masterpiece. And it is. It's amazing. But this game doesn't have really much of a linear path or story. All it says is it's the resurrection of Ganon. And then Adventure of Link, it is prevented. Adventure of Link has a bit of a more story. So yeah, that's basically the Zelda timeline. So what I'm going to do with this series is most of the time I probably won't be moving the camera around like this. Most of the time it'll probably just be looking at one thing Zelda related, and I'll be talking about it. So today I was just introducing you to the timeline and showing you what it's about. Later on, we're gonna have all sorts of episodes: theory episodes, big episodes, explaining episodes. It's gonna be more like podcast type thing. It's still gonna be a YouTube series, so it's not like a podcast, not being on radio, but it's gonna be more something that's more related to a podcast than a like gaming series. You know, like Hyrule Academy by Super MC Gamer. I'm really missing out on that. Anyway, so yeah, see you guys next time on. I still haven't decided the name. I don't know. Let's go with the Majora's Twilight's Ocarina Talk of Zelda. No. Let's go with the Zelda Talk. Yeah, amazing name. So yeah, that's the name of this show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you guys next time on the other side. In the description, in the comment section below, I will be asking some questions I would like you to answer. Thank you guys so much for supporting and watching this channel. I know none of you have supported the channel, but thank you guys for watching. Anyone who does watch me regularly, I really, really appreciate it. So I will see you all on the other side. Wind Waker's